Hello, this is Sunil Sunder Raj with Jersey Sporting News. Tonight, I'm happy to be speaking with Coach Manj, the new Verona High School football head coach. Once again, Coach Manj, thank you for the opportunity, and congrats. I said on becoming, I said the new head football coach there, and proudly wearing the Verona Hillbillies. I said sweatshirt. Just could you talk about how exciting this opportunity and what it means for you personally?
I'm very excited. This program has a lot of history. I mean, a ton of history, and to be able to unanimously win. Like all the people that interviewed me said that I was the best candidate, and honestly, I'm just like really excited to go into a program with so much history, and just get it back to on the right course.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's great news to hear. Hey, this is gonna, be a challenge. The last couple of years, the program is going through some growing pains, record wise. Can you talk about, now trying to right the ship and get this program to where it was? I said, talking about in 2018, 19, and 20, they had successful seasons, especially going undefeated at one point. 2019, 12 and 0, reaching the state playoff semifinals in 2018, I think it was. What is it going to take here, Coach? I said, as you know, it's very competitive out there. So just describe, just in terms of the players, coaching staff, assembling that, getting that structure in place, for the 2024 season.
Yeah. So going against them 2 years in a row, playing against Verona, was very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Matter of fact, let's go back to 2019,
Mm-hmm.
2018 rather. I was almost on that staff as a defensive
Okay.
line coach. But
Okay.
instead of going there, I ended up going to to St. Joe's. That was
Hmm.
part of the history of like that. But
Yeah.
over the last couple of years, being at Glen Ridge, we're playing against Verona, so tight games, very tough
Hmm.
team. I'm looking at them. I see the talent. I see what they have over there. I see these boys want to win. They want to win bad. No knock on the prior staff or anything like that, but I think I'm saying there's different methods to everybody. When you come to the coaching a team like that,
Hmm.
putting assembling the staff, like it's not gonna be a staff that I like you, you like me. We all have to be able to work together. We're gonna have to understand that we have probably one of the top programs in the state. I would say, especially Group One. I believe
Hmm.
Verona is one of the top programs, and I don't really think it as a rebuild. Not even a reload. I just think that we just got to put a transmission into this thing and just get it going.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, let's just talk about how high school football has become 24/7, 365. I mean, once the season ends, then you're pretty much back in the weight room several weeks later, strength and conditioning, and then just talking about the interaction, I guess, so far with the players and what you foresee and moving forward here and just in terms of a schedule and getting this, pat down heading into next season as well, Coach.
Well, I'll be honest. Like I met the team on the Thursday after I was hired on Tuesday last
Okay.
week, and the very first thing out of their mouth was, "Can we get the weight room today? Can we get the
Mm,
weight room?" They want it. They want to get in the
yeah.
weight room. They want to push the weights around. They understand that we're going to win in the weight room. When you're going to win, when you win the games, honestly, when you win the season, it's at the weight room. It's during practice. It's not during it's Friday nights or Saturdays. That's when you win the game. So I looked at the team, looked at the roster. I watched a ton of film, seeing what we have, and honestly, what we have going on right now, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be something very special. I see it, I feel it. The energy's there. The community
Yeah.
wants it. I want it. The coaches that I'm looking at, they want us. Put it this way, my phone has been going off the hook for coaches that want to be part of what's about to happen because we have something
Yeah.
very special. And these young men are, I'm blessed to be a part of them. And administration, I think, they're very supportive of what we're doing. It's just going to be some one of those things that you get into the soon as we get in there in the weight room, it's just gonna everything's gonna happen magic.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up that point with the administration. Also, athletic department as well. Again, is essential. Can you talk about that? Athletic director Laura Palmaresi, principal Joshua Kajo, vice president principal, excuse me, Bob Merkler. It said Superintendent Diane Giuseppe. Can you talk about that? It said, as you alluded
Oh,
to, the vote was unanimous in terms of you being named the head coach. That had to feel just incredible to know that you had that wave of support, Coach.
You know what? And I'm going to be honest, and let me just do one thing before we keep going. I
Yeah.
just realized the hat I got on, I got my real estate hat on. Let me take that
Okay.
off. Let me put my
There you
Verona hat.
go.
There we go. There we go.
Now, that's right.
I wear many hats, so let me just take that hat
I
off. I just
know.
realized I had that on. So let me tell you, when I first walked in that room and the interview started, I just knew in my heart, I just said, this is the right place. But really, it all started when I rode up the parking lot, driving
Yeah.
up there, and you see the facility, you see the turf fields. But the
Hmm.
best I saw, you see the hillbilly mascot, and you get up in the banners, you see the V's going up. Feels like a
Yeah.
college type feel. It feels like
Yeah.
being back. I want to say like I got Bosco because of the maroon. That was you
Yeah.
see it back there. But walking into there, getting interviewed by all of them, and it was just like it felt like family. It felt like home right away, welcoming me. There was no favors in that interview. The interview was really grueling. I was in there for about an hour and 20 minutes. They asked me every question they could, from sliced bread to
Hmm.
everything, to how I started it. Why is my name Coach Manj, and not Coach
Hmm.
Singh? The reason why that is because I started coaching football youth league. My brother coached with me, so you can't have two Coach Sings. So then it
Yeah.
wouldn't work. So I said I'll just be
Yeah.
Coach Manj. And he
Yeah.
said I'll be Coach Sham. That's my brother's name. And we became
Yeah.
Coach Manj and Coach Sham, and we just kept it like
Yeah.
that. That just didn't work. But the administration, I mean, even going in and meet the superintendent, it was just like beautiful. When I went in
Yeah.
there and she told me that, you're awarded the job, like I'm not gonna lie to you, I had goosebumps and tears in my eyes, and
Mm.
feeling very blessed, honestly.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. And you talk about the tradition. I think that's so
Oh,
important because, to have the standards set in place, and once, as you said, facilities, that there's so much that goes into it. I think a lot of people underestimate um how those mitigating factors play a role, again, in the success of a football program. Hey, I mean, today was a big day, National Signing Day. Just talk about, I mean, it's, and I feel like I was thinking about, it's like we talk about hot stove baseball, hot stove football because of the moves, coaching Carousel as well. So it's just,
yeah.
you see Augie Hoffman
Oh
coming
yeah.
back to St. Joe's, Dan Morenci going to the Indian Hills. It's just
Yes.
unbelievable. Like, again, that there's never a dull moment
No.
now with high school football, not only in North Jersey, but across the state, coach.
Yeah, I mean, and that like, you see that, I get excited too. There's no
Yeah.
way that there's not a coach here in New Jersey, especially part of the SFC conference, one
Hmm.
of the biggest conference in the country, that you don't look around seeing what's going on, and different coaches moving around, to seeing players. Like, I enjoy watching players, getting to college, signing and everything. And I was a part of watching several coaches in the Big North when I was there, on
Hmm.
how they share. In other words, if they didn't have a defensive lineman that fit, for that college, they would say, hey, you know what? This school has it, that school has it, go look. And I noticed that's the camaraderie we have as coaches, that we all help each other out to get our Jersey football players out there. Like even now, like I'm still helping, the players down in Glen Ridge and players from the past that they need any help.
Hmm.
We all try to help each other out, and we all try to, get it going, because New Jersey football is like, it's unreal right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, just to see how popular it is, and just coming off the heels of just some magnificent, high school state football championship games, MetLife Stadium, down at Rutgers University as well. And I know that is the ultimate goal, is, to win a state championship. Hey, let's talk about you at Glen Ridge. 2 years there.
Yeah.
Again, enjoyed immense level of success. The Ridges winning their first state playoff game in 41 years. I said last year that was quite, historic and momentous for you. Just talk about your time there, Coach Monge.
So like I said, I got to thank Glen Ridge, from the bottom of my heart, for many reasons. Like, for one,
Hmm.
taking the risk on me. I would say it was a risk for them to take me. Coming out of the Big North, coming out of St. Joe's, and going in there. People telling me, "Hey, you're going to Glen Ridge. They're in the Ivy League. Coach, you might as well just stay where you are. It could be career suicide. Things like that." And I said, "You know what? I like to take the opportunity to interview." But prior to going to Glen Ridge, I was interviewed at Montclair. I
Okay.
was in the grueling process with Jermaine Johnson, and we were going head to head to head. Probably another person in there, but I was in the
Hmm.
damn near the finals there. So when I got interviewed for Glen Ridge, I was really, like, okay, right next door. Born and raised in Montclair. I said,
Yes.
Glen Ridge is right next door. I said, I'm really been interested to see what this is about. And Rob Hill and interviewed me along with Dave Manzo, who's part of the Red Dogs organization with the youth program, and had support from like Jim Vigna, Carl Hauser seniors, a lot of people that were part of that whole hiring process. So getting that job and seeing like right out of the Ivy, then I started learning the history. Like, wait a minute, they haven't won a playoff game in how long? 83. I said, no, I said, you guys are lying. Like, no, seriously. I said, no. I don't believe it. Let's really look into it. And then it really was the 82-83 season. So it was like, okay, now you're going into it.
Yeah.
Going in there was a culture shock. I only had 17 players. I walked in there with 17 players. I showed up at Cedar Grove with 18 players on the roster, ready to go play football on a Friday night, and we got our tail kicked in. So one thing I said, you know what? We got to get this program. We got to get it going. So having help on social media, like my wife does all my social media. So Coach Manj page is not ran by me, ran by her. She does all that. And I have a couple of media people that help out as well. But we started pushing that. People in the school started seeing that football is just not an object. It's something that's a sport. It's not just an intramural. So then, my first big guy person I get was a cheerleader. We were in picture day inside the gym. I see the cheerleaders. I see this guy with his chest out like this, big guy. I'm looking at him. I said, you know what? I'm going to get him to play football. And they're like, you can't do it. So we started from there. I had a golfer. I had a track, couple of cross country, soccer players, baseball players with scholarships, and you name it. So we took that team, built it up. And, it was a struggle at times until, we turned it around. We got guys going to the weight room. We didn't have our weight room really to us because it was getting redone. So that was a struggle. Like I said earlier when we first started, the weight room was everything. So it's like looking at that and looking where we came from. And then at the end of year one, holding up the regional invitational trophy, putting the first player in the Division I school since 1993, Jake Russell, putting Jake Russell in the Phil Simms All-Star Classic, which is the first one since 1979. You look at those accolades. Those aren't my accolades. That's his accolades. That's the players. That's the team. That's everything. That's the coaching staff I had. And we did it with 4 coaches. We went out there and did everything we had to do. And then, falling into the next season this year, we were down to 1-3 at one point in the season. And people wanted to hang it up like, oh, we're not buying into this. This is it. And I said, I'm not selling it. It's about believing, about understanding that we have work to do and we can turn this whole thing around if you believe. You got to trust in one another in here. And there's a saying that Greg Toll used to say, and that Don Bosco, and I live by it, and I had to deal with it with my son back when he was there, but also being in a room with Toll. And that was, coaches love coaches, players love players, players love coaches, coaches love players. That whole saying. And you had to have that. We didn't have that at one point. So it was a disconnect between the coaches, it was a disconnect between the players. And then all of a sudden, we went on a 4-game win streak. We went on a 4-game win streak, and we just went out there. And then, of course, we hit the buzzsaw, which I call it Shabazz. Got beat up down there the last game of the regular season. And then going to the Waldwick game, first game of the playoffs, we're down 20-0. And I looked at my coaches and said, it's first quarter. I said, it's down 20-0. And everybody started feeling like, oh, no, the Shabazz thing again. I told my coaches on the mic, I said, because I'm a manager game, you guys are hired to be coaches for me. You guys have a job to do, and you guys know what you have to do. Let's get it done. And little by little, we chipped away, and we ended up beating them, I believe, 33-26. And then they gave me SFC Coach of the Week. I didn't even know what that was because I had no idea. There was a bunch of coaches. I didn't know there was only one coach get picked out. And, very blessed with that. That was really awesome. I think one of our biggest wins, and I hate to say it, was the 8-7 win against Verona. I mean, literally, that's when we showed adversity, pouring rain, buckets of rain, senior day. We didn't lose a home game last year either. We made sure we protected our house. So, that game right there was everything. I mean, we pulled it all out there, and I saw what we were about. And I also saw that time at that moment what Verona was about. Yeah. So it was like watching them and seeing them gruel out at 8-7 in the pouring rain. I saw how tough those guys were too. So it was 2 tough teams. You ever get a chance to look at that game? That was one hell of a game right there. That was football at its best. In the grass and the rain and the mud, it was football at its best.
Yeah, I don't think it gets any better than that. That's the true essence. I said of football. Playing on grass and inclement conditions, and low scoring, having 2 teams battling it out. For all 4 quarters, and I think that's where it really does live up to the billing. And yeah, no, that's again fantastic. And let's take it back before that. Again, 2018, 2020. Varsity and JV coach at St. Joe's there in Montvale. Talk about your time there as well, Coach.
Oh man, that was I want to say those were some good times.
Yeah,
literally. I mean, that coaching staff, I learned so much from those guys. At one point, I had Augie Hoffman was the head coach at the one point,
Hmm.
and Dan Morangi came in.
Yeah.
You got to see players like Audric Estime
Yeah.
out there. I mean, you name them, Jalen Wade. I mean, there was so many Peter Shue.
Hmm.
There were so many of the players out there that you
Yeah.
just saw. I mean, even the defensive line I had with Jimmy Mullen, Charlie Blessing. It's just so many players that you could just name, and just so many
Yeah.
talent. And just being a part of that, being in that film room, being part of that, being the long days and seeing it, taking that JV team program out, and going out there. And honestly, I think we only lost 2 games. I know they say you don't count JV games, but I said when it comes to the Big North, you kind of got to count those games, because those are the guys of the future.
Yeah.
I believe we were playing St. Francis, and one of our corners went down. And we had a sophomore, Jatai Mays, who was playing JV. Looking around, I said, "This is the guy. Put him in." Jatai Mays never came off the field after that. Like literally, went in there and they became the guy. But that's what it was all about. I mean, you got camaraderie in that locker room through the coaches, and even with the transition from Augie to Coach Morangi. I mean, Coach Hoffman and Coach Morangi. It was for most people it was big. For me, it wasn't, because I knew Dan Morangi back when I was at Bosco. So
Yeah.
it was like seeing the whole thing and seeing everything, like Coach Church and all of them. But it was I learned a lot over there. I was a pupil. I got to learn what was going on, see how they did things, and saw how they was just driven to success by winning, and the way the culture was built was just being tough at all times. And it was winning in the weight room, it was winning in the classroom, it was winning at all aspects of the game. It was getting the kids into college. It was traveling, taking it. Like that's the one attitude I had going into Glen Ridge, was like, we'll play anybody, I don't care. And that's how we were with that attitude. You leave, go from a Bosco and a Joe's. You want to play anybody, anywhere, anytime. You're not going to back
Yeah.
down no matter what it is, and you just got to build it from there. But I learned how to build football players, because the difference between a private school and a public school is that in the private school, you're getting kids from all over.
Hmm.
They don't really know each other. So the
Yeah.
freshman year, it's kind of you putting them together, and then you got to find if they work or don't work, and you see some transfers here and there, leaving and going and coming. But
Hmm.
then you finally get it together, and you see that you got a system going on. So the public school, these guys, you try to keep them home, and they've been there together, they played together, they did all these things. So to me, it's a little easier with the public school. Private school a little tougher, because at the end of the day, they're playing for something, they're playing, they're paying to play, they're paying to go to school there, but they're also earning their positions. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot behind the scenes that it could get grueling. It could get painful
Yeah.
too, here and here, honestly.
That's true, both mentally and physically. Yeah, 100%. The expectations are just off the charts in terms of the privates and the non-publics. And I said, that's where you began your coaching career, was at Don Bosco Prep. I said as the freshman, football defensive coordinator. Just talk about that. A couple of years there, and you know, uh,
Yeah. So
it's something where you thrived in as well, Coach.
oh man, listen, I fell in love with Don Bosco. My son went there. My son went
Hmm.
there in 2012. 2013. That's when he got in. 2012, we were looking at schools what to go to, and I met Greg
Hmm.
Toll. And once I met
Yeah.
Greg Toll, I was like, you know what, this guy is all about these kids. He's real about it. My son, loved and adored him. He did a lot of good things for the program. He did a lot of good things for the kids. I seen it,
Hmm.
and I was just like, you know what? I was coaching Little League football at the time, and I was like, you know what? This is something that I could bring down. So I took their habits and brought it down to the Little League, and I saw how it actually transpired in the Little League, and had these guys working hard, and just putting success together. But being there as a coach, I mean, you step out there and you just see all the history. I mean, that's the first thing you see is the history. You go
Yeah.
up to state, see all from the national championships to the state titles, and
Hmm.
how they controlled New Jersey, and to be a part of it, to be a part of even as a freshman game, being a part of a Bosco Bergen. I mean, you get to do the freshmen, it's electricity. I mean, you
Yeah.
just a lot of great players out of there. So, I mean, my time at Don Bosco, like forever, I mean, is in my heart. Still got connections with the coaches there. I still got love with the program. I still got my duffel bag upstairs with all my Bosco gear. I got a duffel bag with all my Joe's gear,
Yeah.
and right now I got a duffel bag with my Glen Ridge stuff. So it's like collected. You never throw it away because you never know.
Yeah, that's true. And hey, let's talk about, I said a former Don Bosco prep, I said alum in Tommy DeVito, I said who's it's Tommy Maney, chicken cutlets,
Oh yeah.
said with the New York Giants. I mean, it's so awesome to see that. Like, how many players not only, of course, Don Bosco Prep, but you talk about Bergen Catholic. It said St. Joe's. How many players, not only at the college level, but the NFL, that have just gone on to enjoy, long, sustainable careers and just absolutely, dominating on that level. We're seeing it, of course, even with Rashawn Gary from Paramus Catholic, playing for the
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers. I mean,
Oh,
that,
Bro
it's
Peppers.
just, yeah, Jabril Peppers. I mean, another one. I mean, it's just that's got to be the coolest part about it, is that you rightly said, a lot of these players, they started out as freshmen in JV, ended up on varsity, and then
I
they took
think
off from there. Sky was the limit.
yeah, I think one of the coolest things. Let's go to college real quick. I mean, I was
Yeah.
watching a couple years ago, Ohio State versus Notre Dame for opening day.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have? About almost 20 players from New Jersey out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luke Rippler's out there. You had all these guys. Aldrich was out there. You had everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you had so many players that were out there from New Jersey that it was
Yeah.
like a big North party, and
Yeah.
you see that. So like with Tommy, like honestly, like so me and his family, like we started together back in the Cobras. That's why I got to meet them. So I was in youth football and everything like
Yeah.
that. I actually got Tommy
Yeah.
before he got there, the father, senior, and him and his son and my son, ended up, being a duo at Don Bosco. My son's
Mm-hmm.
jersey's right behind me, and I got
I
one
know.
right there. You see him. But Tommy's jersey's right here, the Syracuse one. I couldn't get his
Yeah.
Bosco one. But you saw how how it all started and how it really went, and the story really, honestly, if you look at what Tommy's career, like, people seeing like, oh, he's there and he's doing all this, but he earned every
Mm-hmm.
last bit of it.
Yeah.
When he was at Bosco as a sophomore, he was penciled in to be the starter, and then he had a transfer come in, so he had to sit and wait. He had to wait his time. So his junior year came around. He went out there. He won a state title. Did everything he had to do. Senior year, you lost that big all-star line. Even though the line was still good, but you also, had to change things. The little things got changed around every now and then. I mean, you lost some targets, lost some pieces. But had a successful season. Lost to Paramus Catholic at the end of that one. Then he got to Syracuse. When he got to Syracuse, he had to wait behind Dungy. Had to wait a while. And when he finally got his opportunity to get a little bit to get in there, he was getting banged up everywhere. I mean, he had injuries that people didn't even know about. He played through. And that just showed the toughness. And that toughness goes at the Don Bosco, like how tough they built these guys to be tough. And, nobody looks at that. Then at the end when he got hurt, and then he to me, he didn't get benching anything. He got hurt, and he never got his job back. And I thought that was unfair at the time in Syracuse. That's just me looking as a friend of the family, as well as as I call him nephew, and he calls me uncle. Like everybody at coach call me uncle, I call him nephew, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
So then to watch him go to Illinois, going to pro style offense and do the things he did, and then to be with him during draft day, and he's like, optimistic, like who knows, I might go in the 7th round. We're waiting for everything. Nothing happens, and to sit there at the family's house and watch him choose. Now he could have went for the money in LA, could have went to the money in Washington. Father very smart, mother very smart. Everybody's around there looking at me, and I heard the Dallas Cowboys in the background. I'm a Cowboy fan. Oh, hey man, maybe go to Dallas, but they made the right decision by choosing New York. And I mean, of course, injuries are unfortunate, but it's part of the game of football. So when he got the ball in his hands, I'm not gonna lie. Everybody else was surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's Tom. Tom.
Yeah.
If you watch everything about Tommy DeVito, that's him. Like yesterday with the pizzeria thing and all that stuff that was going on, I knew he was going to show up regardless of the media there or not.
Yeah.
It's Tommy. If things aren't going right and he felt somebody's done wrong, that's how his father is, his mother is, that's how the family is. They make right by their ways. So I mean, it's so special to see him doing what he's doing, the Tommy Mania. I think the last game against Green Bay, you see me sitting way down here. The family's up here. I'm trying to hide from the cameras. I don't want to be part of none of that. You're part of the Tommy Mania, which you're sitting in that section. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's raised by a great family, well prepared. You can see how even keel he is, cool under pressure. I mean, even on Sunday, even with them, losing to New Orleans, I mean, the shot he took, it was so vicious, but the fact that he got up, popped back up, continued to play in that game, just show his, the grit, the determination, of Tommy.
You know where that comes from? I'm just gonna, just say it. I mean, his
Yeah.
mom, as a kid growing up, his parents owned a bakery, so she had to get up at bakery hours, like 4 a.m, go do that, as well as going to school and do things. And then, Big Tom, the father, took over his father's plumbing business, and plumbing doesn't stop; it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
And get it done. putting boilers in, staking out lines, so whatever it takes. And that man is, worked every bit of everything and never missed anything. And then his brother Max, another great. I mean, listen, that family, like I said, I got nothing but kudos. And
Yeah.
big, the father always said it, and I agree and I admit it, because Tommy is somebody that's straight edge. The first one to listen to their parents is the one to win the race. He listened to his parents, Tommy, from the beginning to the end, and I give him kudos. Literally take my hat off to them.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah, that blue collar mentality and just like, adhering to those principles and those values as well. And you can see it reflects in, the success now he's
Oh yeah.
been able to enjoy with the New York Giants. Hey, yeah, I wanted to ask you just Montclair native, played on the Montclair High School 1994 state championship football team, played wide receiver and tight end. Coach Manj, just talk about, I mean, it said next door now, said to, Verona practically. What does that mean? Like, it said growing up there and just, being able to go to high school and then, be on the football team and part of that state championship team.
So I'll say Montclair, like, there was nothing like it. I mean, if you
Mm,
listen to that documentary they made on NJ.com and all, and you hear the '90 thing. I mean, you wore blue. You wore blue. Everybody knew about it. Everybody knew
hmm
you bleed that blue. You have it in your body. It's
Yeah.
not a myth. It's not a fake thing. It's not something we make up. No, you really do. Everybody
hmm
knows everybody in that town. It's a melting pot. We never see color. We never see race, creed, color. Nothing. That town is one of the most special towns, and in those locker rooms, like, everybody wants to know what happens in the locker rooms, and those locker room stories and things that go on in that locker room. It was nothing but real live brotherhood. Like, playing with Derek Ponton, Ira Williams, Darian Johnson, Sean Plummer, all those guys, Omar Liggins. I mean, you could just name it all going on. I mean, and then you know the history. Like, everybody knows the history of Montclair High School. You don't stop learning it. Like, you had Darrell Williams, Darnell Williams. I mean, then you go back further, you got Lamont Ponton. You just know everybody. Quintus
Yeah.
McDonald,
Yeah.
keep going, Ron Burton, you name them. And the names go on and on, but the tradition always stays there, and it's always there. And to be part of that '94 state title, yeah, we beat Randolph, but it wasn't nothing like taking the monkey off the back for '90. Like, '90 was probably I personally, I don't think there's a team in the nation that could beat that 1990 Montclair High School football team. I just personally don't, even though they lost to Randolph in that fashion. But I'll tell you right now, that team was 2,000-yard running backs. Yeah, Lamont Ponton was, I think, almost a 2,000-yard passer. Or if he was a 2,000-yard passer, you had Steve Sudavar out there as a wide receiver. I mean, you had guys that's making things. I mean, it was
hmm
something big. So being part of that, it was like, wow, you're part of Montclair. But I'm not going to lie to you. You always knew that there were smaller schools out there. And this school right here, they were always in the you always knew about it. You always knew that
hmm
Verona was a school. Like, as a kid, you're like, I want to play against Verona, but we're Group 5, and they're Group 1 or 4 at the time, and they're Group 1 or 2. So you could never do it. But it's like being next door is like still being at home for me. Being at Verona is like being at home, like being at Montclair.
Yeah. Again, just amazing to hear that. Hey, you played and coached football. You talked about the brotherhood, and again, I think that's what a lot of people preach about the game. What is it? Just some of the intangibles that stand out about this game that you've been in it for so long, and you just come back year after year, coach.
Well, I'll say it like this: it's the coaches.
hmm
The coaches I put myself around, that I was around, for my brother Sham, Johnny Valentine, Garland Thornton, guys like that, who started me up in this whole thing, getting going. And, you're around all these different coaches, and it just, year after year, coaches sometimes change, but sometimes you stay with them. Like my coach right now, Chris Ferrara, my offensive coordinator, I've known
hmm
him since 1987, playing Montclair Cobras. So with Howard Finney. So there's going to be a documentary, King Cobra, coming out and everything like that. Just seeing all that and just seeing the tradition and seeing how it's built and watching it. This game of football, I mean, it's more than just going out there and play games. It's a game of emotions. You
Yeah.
learn life because you have to learn how to lose. You have to learn how to win. You have to learn about how to work with one another. You have to learn how to deal with it. You have to, how to fix it. You get to see emotions, like real emotions, come out of people versus
hmm
anything fake. And you see, like me, I wear sunglasses. The reason why I wear sunglasses, why coach, it could be night, it could be rain, it could be whatever it is. I'm wearing my sunglasses. The reason why I wear my sunglasses, growing up, I had a coach, Homer Robinson from Montclair, Coach Rob. Everybody knew Coach Rob. Coach Rob wore sunglasses. You could never see his eyes, whatever it may be. And I kept asking him for my 4 years of playing high school football, why are you wearing these sunglasses? And he never told me until he had to pick me up off a Giant Stadium, back when it was Giant Stadium, not MetLife,
Yeah.
after a state title game. gets me off the field and says, "Son, I wear these sunglasses because I have my emotions all the time." And also, I can see when people don't think I'm looking at them, I'm watching them. But really, my emotions, watching you taking those hits and going down and getting up, it's painful sometimes. It really is. I'm an emotional type of coach too, where I'm not. You're not boo-hooing, but you get the tears, you get everything going, and
Yeah.
you want to let your team know you're still there, you're still fighting with them no matter what. So you see the passion. So when you see those little videos of coaches yelling and screaming, I don't ever see coaches, and I don't believe that they actually yell at an individual. They yell at a situation. And if any coach is hard on a player, it's because that player has more to give, and we're trying to pull it out
Hmm.
of them, and we know
Yeah.
it's in them. We try. That's why coaches are really hard. So I love that. I got coached up hard, and for me, not having a father growing up, just my mom, single family home.
Hmm.
Coaches like a dad, something you got to look up to, and I looked up to a lot of coaches, like Ira Williams. He was the father. He was my mentor. He was like a father figure to me. Coach Rob, another one, father figure to me. You got a bunch of them like that.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Yeah, all valid points you make, as said about the game, because there's so much that you do invest in the energy, the passion, the drive. I mean, it all factors in. Okay, you're just not a football coach. They said, you're a realtor for Compass Real Estate in Montclair, director for flag football at Center Court in Montclair as well. Hey, talk about that. So you wear again many hats, and you have to
Yes.
juggle, different responsibilities. Talk about how you're able to, just multitask and just be able to adapt to every situation here and to every job you do.
So with real estate, I'll go to flag football. Let me go to flag
Okay,
football, not
sure.
real estate, because
Yeah.
it's going to go hand in hand. So with the flag football, I was approached, by Matt Warner. Matt Warner is my GM at Center Court in Montclair. He's
Hmm.
approached me and said, "Hey, what do you think about girls flag football?" That's how it really started. That's the girls flag football. I said, "No, it's because it's going to take the nation by storm. It is taking the nation by storm. It's
Hmm.
going to be a legal, a national sport in New Jersey for 2026, a high school sport rather. It's going to be a big sport there. It's going to
Yeah.
be a Olympic for 2028. It's got so much going on, and I watched so many girls and doing things. So it started with that, and then he asked me, he goes, "Would you like to be a part of it?" I said, "Absolutely." Then they named me the director. So basically, I'm like, I'm just a coach, but this director role goes to. It's like reach out to
Hmm.
people, networking, getting things, putting the facilities together, and now it's like we have a program that's just running by storm. Like we have of 15 girls right now. We're actually hosting on December 29th. Anybody can come see it. We're really trying to see, mothers and daughters to come out and see. We have two teams from New York that are going to play each other. And the one
Okay.
that's running it is a college flag football coach. He's a college flag football coach. I don't have his name right on top of my head, but
Hmm.
he's running
Hmm.
it with my boy Tags, who's down in the Marble area. So it's really a big sport. I mean, it's huge,
Yeah.
and Verona doesn't have a flag football yet, and Montclair doesn't have one yet. So it's like, what? Come to center court. Try to put it together now. Start when they're young. So when it comes to time, when they get to high school, even if there's no high schools with it, like envision this. Let's say Mount St. Dominic's, IHA, they don't have a flag football team yet.
Hmm.
Imagine you get something working out of center court in Montclair or any of the center courts. You get the girls' flag in there. You're working out. You got a team going. Now you put them and present them to one of those schools. Now you got a Don Bosco type, Bergen Catholic, St. Joe's, prep school ready to go with girls to go out there and go
Yeah.
play and take it nationally, go fly out. Or you could even do it in public schools. I mean, you could get it going, but it's like getting somewhere and getting it started. And I just see it going bigger and bigger and bigger, just as football. And like I said, the boys' flag, that's also interesting. I think that if you can attack the hip and get to the hip and grab the flag, you can be able to. It's going to correspond with football in general, because you got to learn how to watch the hips and get to the hips. The reason why
Hmm.
Barry Sanders is so elusive, that he always said, flag football. You couldn't get his flags. He moved his hips, moved his hips. So it's like it's a game of watching the hips versus watching the eyes and shoulders. But it's
Yeah.
very, very competitive. I love it. I mean, I love it. I didn't think I was going to love it as much as tackle football, but it's really interesting to see how it's going, and it's taking the nation by storm. Definitely.
Yeah, I just recently, a couple weeks ago, I was at Paramus High School, and they were recognizing, said girls that would be participating in the U.S. Army Bowl, taking place at the Star there in Frisco, Texas, home of the Dallas Cowboys, and
Mm-hmm.
really special to see these girls and their achievements, as said, and now they're going to be able to shine, on the brightest stage,
Oh yeah,
and that's just again really cool to see. Hey,
yeah,
I
and
just a couple. Go ahead.
yeah, having a daughter that's 13 years old that she's a volleyball player. She likes
Mhm.
playing basketball. Now fell in
Yeah.
love with flag football. I'm so happy.
Yeah, no, to set that example, I'm sure, you're very proud, said of your kids, accomplishments here. Hey, speaking of family, what have they meant to you along this journey here, Coach Manch? I mean, this is, I mean, is this something that again you've done for an extended period of time? It's got to be again, it's emotional, but it just, again, take a lot of pride and joy in that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you. Every good football coach has to have a good, spouse, a good
Hmm.
partner. She literally, she pushes me, she drives me. My wife, Liliana. Everybody knows real estate. You know, is Liliana. We all know her as Katie, but
Hmm.
she pushes me. She takes care of the family. Like when I was working at my prior job, I was working midnight to 8 shifts, not sleeping at home. Sometimes work to midnight to 12 o'clock to be at practice by 2:30. So those are
Hmm.
sacrifices she had to put up with for like over 8 years, just about, for me to do that, to enjoy the things I love, like football. And
Yeah.
she envisioned me being a head coach one day. When I looked at it and said, "Nah, I'm good where I'm at, being an assistant coach and things like that," and pushed me. And she also pushed me into having a brighter, broader audience, and just saying, "You're better than this. You're special. You got more things and more value." And
Hmm.
that's what got me into real estate too. She pushed me into that. She's also a realtor. My son, is also a realtor too. So real estate, the way we approach real estate is, it's basically like football. You got to have a game plan. So you
Yeah.
become my client, you want to buy or you want to sell. So I have to come with a plan. Let's come with a whole game plan so that we both can agree to put us to the point where we can win. Not, when I say winning, it's like not taking advantage or beating up on somebody or lying to them. It's telling
Hmm.
the truth. It's shooting from the hip, and we're going to understand that there's going to be some wins and some losses, and we have to know what's going to come. So I have to prepare, like practicing, getting ready to go. And then, you get to the big game. The big game is getting to that closing table. And, I'll be honest with you, I've had nothing but success with the clients I've dealt with, with real estate. And, I always tell people, you can have 40 years experience, you got 30 years, 20 years, you could have made, over $50 million in real estate. That's, do you want experience or inexperience, where you're going to be like me? I'm a coach. So I'm like this with it. I'm
Yeah.
all night, all day, making sure I'm taking care of my clients, making sure that they're taken care of. Like I said, my team with my wife or my son, they're out there, opening doors, doing social media, doing all the content, making sure we're taking care of everything from paperwork, the whole nine. So it's like,
Hmm.
um, I enjoy the thrill. I think it's a thrill. You're chasing it over and over. When I
Yeah.
close, I get depressed because, I mean, you're chasing it the whole time. It's like winning a big game. After it's over, you sit for 2 or 3 hours. Well, I sit for 2 or 3 hours. After that, I'm watching film for the next game, ready to go.
Yeah.
And when the season ends, I'm like looking at myself, twiddling my thumbs. But it's like I keep myself busy. I think it keeps me young. It keeps me going, and it's just the firepower. I mean, I love
Yeah.
it. I love competing. I love competing.
Yeah.
I love competing. And even when I lose, I learn from my losses. I lost a
Hmm.
lot, but you learn off of that.
Yeah, you definitely get an adrenaline rush, and I think having that sense of meaning and purpose is so, again, is so vital. I think, without that, you're toast. Hey, I think you're in a great position here. Before you get the final word here, Coach Monge, uh, to offer some much needed advice, for those younger players, or maybe people who want to break into the coaching ranks as well. I think that there are a lot of people out there interested in. I'm wondering, talk about social media. There's a lot of pressure out there, competition. So, what would you say to the players, and then of course the people out there who maybe want to become a coach, one day?
Well, I mean, for players, I mean, you're out there. You got to, it's a sacrifice. It starts, like giving up your time. You got to give up a lot.
Yeah.
You want to get to the elite level, and you want to play at the top level, or just play the top. When I say top level, I'm not talking about college and that's way up there. But you have
Hmm.
to start baby steps in the youth level. Like you have to start giving up things to get things. In other words, you have to train. Training is everything. You get coached by football coaches, and after you leave, what are you doing after you leave? Are you hitting the gym? Do you have a personal trainer? Are you getting a speed coach?
Hmm.
Are you working on your craft at home? Are you continuously watching film, studying film? That's the one thing: studying film, watching enough film, seeing your opponent, learning your opponent, their tendencies. If this hand goes like this, you know what it's going to be. If they move like this, you know they're going to go like this. Or just watching all their tendencies,
Yeah.
watching 20 players. Like when I watch film and I teach my players, you watch clip by clip. The thing is, like, don't be afraid. Like, you can't play with fear. This game is not, it's physical, but let me tell you something. all those movies and everything like that. I understand it was real. The CTE, I get it. I 100% understand it.
Hmm.
The way
Hmm.
the game is taught now, we're keeping the head out of the game. A lot of
Yeah.
rugby tackle, a lot of things like that. So young players that are out there that are saying, hey, I want to do it. I want to do it. Honestly, I would say give it a shot. Get a program that get with some coaches, get with some people who learn and talk to people before you get into it. But make sure you're at practice. When you're at practice, just where you learn how to tackle. When you start youth
Yeah.
level. Now, I take players that never played before and they come out their senior year. I've had a few of that before, and you teach them. And those are raw players, and they could be taught. Don't have bad
Hmm.
habits like that. So I mean, the game of football, from young and getting as far as it is. I mean, listen, it's just about dedication and giving up certain things. And for
Yeah.
young coaches that are trying to break in the game, listen, I'll be honest. I didn't receive a dime when I was at Don Bosco. I didn't receive no dimes when I was over at St. Joe's. I had two kids that were in the school at the time. So people say, you had kids at the school. Did that go towards the tuition? No. I would just say, hey, it is what it is. We're here. I mean, yeah, there's some discounts, things like that for being a coach. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
But I never really got paid in my pocket. No. So I
Yeah.
coached on the defensive side of the ball. My son was a running back. I was a defensive line coach, so it was hell for him. So there's no favoritism or anything like that. I made sure we went at. I'm not giving a handing
Yeah.
anything. So that's just the way life is. You don't hand nobody anything. You got to earn everything. So I say to young coaches, if you want to break into this, come as a volunteer, okay? And you want to come as a volunteer, you want to learn the game. You don't want to come in and just put the jacket on, put the hat on, say I'm a coach. You want to learn and be a tutelage. Like I remember picking up the coffee, gonna go get good sandwiches,
Hmm.
doing the little things, making sure everything's right, making sure the meetings are ready to go before we got in there, charging headsets and things like that, and helping out set the fields up. You have to take those little lumps, and then you earn your way up. I mean, I would have never thought, back in 2016, 2017, that I'd be the head coach at Verona High School. I wouldn't have thought that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Glen Ridge High School. I would never thought that, but dreams come true.
Yeah. And again, putting in that those long hours, again, hard work, you know, obviously is paid off now. You said the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, you have to go, sit through the hardships, the ups and downs, twists and turns before you can, see the light at the end of the tunnel and enjoy the fruits of labor. And obviously that has led you, to this, point now here as the new head coach of, Verona High School. Hey, Coach Mancha, well deserved. I wanted to give you the final word and message here. For family, friends, of course, current, Verona High School, the football team, players and coaches, administration, athletic department, town of Verona, but also your previous stops, Glen Ridge, St. Joseph Regional High School in Montvale, New Jersey, and Don Bosco Prep in Ramsey, New Jersey. Just wanted to give you the floor. I know there are a lot of people you want to thank here, Coach Monch.
Well, yeah, definitely like to, thank Don Bosco Prep, for, opening the doors for me to get me in there and, trusting in me with their players and those young men. I had a great time there. My kids had a great time there. My son graduated out of there, which was awesome. And then to get to St. Joe's, getting the opportunity, with Augie Hoffman and with Coach Dan Morangi, just, trusting in me with their JV program and then trusting me with the defensive line and then being a varsity coach to help them out with the game planning. I mean, and all the players that I had, got to coach within there was just amazing. It was phenomenal. And the parents and dealing with the parents, I got some lovely parents over there. And then, with Glen Ridge, it's bitter. I can't say bittersweet. It was a great time. A lot of
Mhm.
memories. I think one of the biggest memories for me, it was when I'm gonna go. I got two. I think one of them was with Dylan O'Neill, our quarterback. Breaking all the school records from passing, single game passing, single season passing, and Jake Russell along with him going to Division One. Those two guys, made my time there really good, along with all of those players. I mean, each one
Mhm.
of them gave it their all and tried their best and did their best, and that's what made us very successful. And it showed, and it showed their leadership, it showed their passion. The one thing that they did for me that would forever be in my heart, and I'll never ever say anything bad about that school because I had nothing bad to say regardless.
Mhm.
When my mother passed away on May 6th, on May 10th, on that Wednesday morning, they packed the church. They all came to support me, and that just speaks volume of the impact we all had together as a program. And I love those
Mhm.
guys, and I love that their families. I mean, it was a great time while I was there. And then, you know, opportunity came to go up the street and go to Verona. I mean, literally, I mean, I just saw all the history and saw everything. I saw the maroon, like that's where I started. The maroon. It's like
Yeah.
you're going there. It's just
Yeah.
the way the administration handled me and the way they with the way they were, and just meeting the players and now meeting the parents on Monday, which is a great meet and greet. The booster club, everything they're bringing, everything they're giving,
Yeah.
and they're just going to continue to build. And they see my vision and what I want and what we need to do, and letting me build this coaching staff and build this program. And I'm just saying it's time to go to work. I can't wait to get out there 2024. Like right now, I'm salivating at the mouth. I can't wait to get to the weight room. I can't wait to drop the schedules. Like we're gonna have some surprises on our schedule. They asked me, what do you want? We're gonna have some surprises. Because like I said,
Yeah.
I don't back down. For that Bosco blood, that St. Joe's blood, and then when I distilled it to Glen Ridge, we're gonna be tough. We're gonna be tougher than any team out there when they go after it. And I can't wait. Like, very excited for New Jersey football in general. Like everybody that's on our schedule, not on our schedule. It's just great to see where New Jersey football is going, from the Group 1 school all the way to the parochial schools, and all the coaches and all the parents and families that support this. Yourself, I really appreciate this interview. I've been dying to get on here with you because I've seen a lot of interviews, and I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I want to feel special. I want to be part of this. So right now, I feel special. And I thank Center Court for making me the director of flag football, and that's just another avenue. And with real estate, we're all going to get on the avenues and go places, and we're just going to head to where we're going to head to. At the end of the day, I got to say, you got one opportunity in life, and you know what? Let's take a shot at everything you do. If you're dreaming about it and you sit on your bucket list, I'll tell you right now, I'll never look back. I'm the happiest man on the face of the earth right now, and that's because of my wife, and my family, supporting me, and that's what means the most to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you preach the gospel. Well said. An absolute honor and privilege being able to interview Coach Manj. Congrats on your success. And then, of course, now here, the new head coach, the Verona High School is at varsity football team, and wishing you all the best in the 2024 season. And looking forward to see you at Super Football Conference Media Day at MetLife Stadium next August.
Listen, definitely gonna be there. But I'll tell you the one thing I would like to see high school football do. Forget about going to Rutgers. Forget about going to Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
We have a great facility at Verona. I would love to play a state title game if we get there, right there at that home field. I would love to do that.
Yeah, that's right.
No, but that's just me personally. It's old school football.
I hear you. Well said. Thanks again, Coach Munch. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Sunil. Thank you.
Thank you.